I cannot believe it, but today is episode 9 of our Goodwill tour series.
Like, it would take you a week to visit every Goodwill in Portland.
That needs to be a thing.
Right.
My husband's full of great ideas, but this might be my very favorite. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be taking you with me to every single Goodwill within the Goodwill Industries of the Columbia Willamette. I went on their website and guess what? It turns out that there are over 55 Goodwills in this region. So join me as we travel around Washington and Oregon, thrifting each Goodwill, looking for items to resell. This is going to be a thrift series you are not going to want to miss, so don't forget to subscribe. And let's go check these Goodwills off one at a time.
You are biting off something.
You put the idea in my head and I am running with it. Today we are hitting the road and we are headed to 2 Goodwills that I have never taken you to on this channel that I can recall. We are headed to Corvallis, Oregon, and then after that we are going to hit Albany, Oregon. These are a couple of the further away Goodwills from the Portland metro area. I'm really excited because these are smaller towns and I tend to find the best stuff in the more remote small town Goodwill locations. So let's hit the road and head to our first stop in Corvallis. Here's some beautiful 1970s looking studio pottery. It's a nice sized vase and it doesn't have a price tag on it. So unfortunately, we're gonna put it in the cart and we are gonna ask when we get up front. I ended up getting this for only $2.99 and the colors and design are so simple, natural, and neutral, and it will go with everything and anything. Here's a studio pottery lidded plate. It's got a nice little dome on top of it so you can keep something covered. It looks like it comes as a set and it is $4.99 and it's got the artist signature D or O there on the bottom. Even if you didn't want to cover something on here, it's a beautiful little speckled neutral plate, very well made. And then it's got this little lid that you could put over the top. So if you're going to be putting out some fruit and maybe you're setting everything up outside on the table and you don't want bugs getting on it until you're ready to serve, this would be great to put some raspberries, blueberries on and then keep it covered with the lid until you're ready to open it up and start eating. This is a Chinese food dog and it looks to be a very handmade one. Might be kind of old. It's $7.99 and it doesn't look like a mass-produced one. You can see the flaws in the pottery and that's actually not necessarily a bad thing. It shows that it's handmade and for $7.99 I think that's a really great price. These food dogs are so fabulous. I like this one. I like his colors and he's just kind of a little bit more rustic and handmade than the mass-produced factory-made ones that you see more often. Like, look at his mouth. His little tongue cracks me up. These look great on a bookshelf. This is another thing that I always make sure to include when I'm decorating, some kind of figurine or statue, and I love animals, so I'm always making sure to incorporate animals into any of my designs. Let's take a look at this beautiful studio pottery vase. It is signed on the bottom. Not quite sure what that says. It might say Stacy. It's $9.99 and it appears to be in really good condition, no chips or cracks. It's really well made studio pottery. I think that's worth $10. Let's go ahead and get this. I almost passed it up because of the price, but I decided that it was still worth the $10. This is something that would probably retail for $30 to $40, and I thought it had really beautiful designs with the blue flowers, and then it's got like this little flower medallion here at the front. This would work great for a flower vase or an actual pitcher. I am loving these candle holders. They are a thick, heavy glass. They are $3.99 each, but unfortunately one of them has quite a few chips on it. And it's not in places that could easily be repaired. You would still notice it. So I'm only going to get the one because this will be really great for styling at the studio. This one had a single chip in it, but not too bad. The other one had quite a few noticeable chips, unfortunately. So I did end up just picking up this single one because I think it's going to look awesome when I mix it into a set of mixed matched candle holders. Let's look at this studio pottery vase. It's $6.99. That's kind of a tough one. I ended up getting it because I could not pass up this yummy drippy glaze. This is my color palette right here in a vase. Let's look at this bear candle holder. It's got a cool Southwestern Native American looking bear. It's got a little spot for a candle. It is $3.99 and it is stamped 1993 The Metal Man. Do you think you would display it with the candle in the front right here? Or do you think you would turn it around and have the candle in the back? And then you can have the light kind of flickering through the open work design. But you'd have to have kind of a short little candle in order for it to flicker through there. So I'm not quite sure. I actually think I might like it better this way with the candle in the front. This looks like a Scandinavian candle holder. It's got a sticker here and it says made in Switzerland. That is always a good sign. And it's only $3.99. I thought this was going to be $6.99 at least. Very excited about this one. It's even got the original sticker made in Switzerland on it. This was such a good buy at only $3.99. I used to sell so many of these plant hangers at the Portland flea market that I did every month for quite a few years. I would say we probably sold anywhere from 3 to 6 of these every single market day. These are $2.99 each, and back in the day when we used to sell them, we sold them for $25 a pop. I haven't found any of these actually in quite a while, and these are in pretty much perfect condition. There are 2 white ones and 1 silver one. I do need to give the silver one just a little bit of cleaning, and typically what I do for that, honestly, is I just take a 000 grade fine steel wool and a little bit of warm soapy water and just kind of give it a nice little cleaning. These were $2.99 each, and again, these are typically worth around $20 to $25 a piece, so not bad. Here's a nice piece of studio pottery. I like how the purple fades like an ombre into the blue. It is $4.99. Nice piece of studio pottery, perfect for this time of year because everybody is cutting their fresh flowers in their gardens and bringing them into their homes. I see a fabulous vintage crystal lion bowl peeking his head around this stuff on the shelf. It is $6.99. I'm so excited about this. I I was so excited about this guy, and then I actually just unpackaged him here in the car, and I realized that his front feet have some pretty big chips on it. Bummed, I didn't see that. I don't know how I missed that. I'm usually really good about looking at these things when I'm in the store. For $7, that's kind of a bummer. So now I have to decide, am I going to sell him for what he would be worth with the chips, which is probably pretty close to $7. He's still completely functional though, so I could use it for staging in the studio. So I don't know. What should I do on that? Would you sell this with the damage and note the damage in the description and sell it for a really reasonable price just to recoup your money, or would you just hang on to it and enjoy them yourself? This is the second time I've looked at this piece of studio pottery. I was kind of on the fence before because it's $6.99. It's a little bit wonky and a little bit amateur, but after seeing it the second time here on the shelf and it caught my attention again, I've decided that I'm gonna get it. I just really liked the colors on this and this kind of simple design. A little bit wonky, so that makes it feel a little bit more organic to me, and I think this would be a really good one to mix and match with other vases. This is a beautiful woven basket. I believe that this was made in Africa. It's all natural materials. These look so beautiful in a basket gallery wall. This one is $4.99. It's a little bit dirty, but I know we can get that cleaned up. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be able to get out this light dirt and staining on there, but I'm not positive. Let's go try it out and see what we can do. Alright, that didn't work. I tried using Blue Dawn because I thought it would be kind of gentle, and then a scrubber that I was just kind of lightly scrubbing because I don't want to mess up the grass, but it didn't seem to work at all. I think it might be shot. Do you have any ideas? Any suggestions? What would you try on this? I love baskets in a gallery wall. Let me insert a few pictures of some of my favorite gallery walls that I've done in the past that included baskets similar to this. Look at this cute little dog napkin holder. It looks like it's handmade. It is $2.99. That's adorable. We have to get this. It needs to be cleaned, but I think this is really cute. You know I love my critters, so I couldn't pass this up. I mean, it's a cute little dog napkin holder. This wooden bowl looks like it's Oregon myrtle wood, which you know that I love. There's something specific about the wood grain and the coloring of Oregon myrtle wood, and I just love it. This looks like a hand-turned bowl, and it's $4.99. I'm pretty sure that this is Oregon myrtle wood. It's such a beautiful turned wooden bowl, and you know I can always find a good use for a carved wood bowl. I'm always on the hunt for nice solid wood picture frames, whether they're for staging in my studio or for reselling online. I like the way that this one's pieced together, and it does look like it's solid wood instead of a veneer. It is $2.99. This would be great to have on hand in case I come across a small piece of art. Whenever I come across picture frames that I like, whether they're vintage or antique, if they're a good price, which $2.99 is, you never know what art you're going to come across, and art tends to sell for a much higher price point if it is framed and matted. I have one of these in my staging collection here at the studio. It's a beautiful made in India carved wooden vase, and this one has a beautiful inlaid design around the rim. It's $6.99. I mostly picked this up because I have a very similar one that I stage with from time to time, and I've had a lot of people DM me and email me asking if it's for sale and if they can buy it. And while I do plan to keep that one, I will be putting this one in one of my upcoming First Friday sales, so keep an eye out for that. Here's a nice little two-toned wooden plate. This would be great for mixing and matching. And it's kind of interesting because it has another tag underneath, but it's showing at the current price, it's $1.99. I recently found a large wooden bowl very similar to this that I styled up for you in one of our other Goodwill videos. Whenever I come across a single wooden plate or bowl or cup or wine glass, I always pick it up because I love to mix and match and put together an instant collection. And a lot of buyers really appreciate that, either because they don't have the eye to do that, the time to do that, and they love that look and they want somebody else to do it for them. Here's another nice wooden bowl. This one is $4.99. It needs a little bit of wood oil, but that is going to be beautiful once I get it cleaned up. This is a fun rolling box. It's got kind of a nice two-toned wood on the top section. It is a yellow tag at $7.99. I wonder if this is handmade. I've never seen this before. I've seen a lot of the teak mid-century rolling organizers, but I've never seen one like this with this color of wood and with the handle. Isn't this fun? This is great. I love this little guy. I don't know what I'm going to use this for. I might end up selling it, but I just thought this was really great. I always gravitate towards things with two-toned wood. I don't know. What do you think? This would be great if you were a knitter. Remember my knitting bowl from a few episodes back? You could actually store your extra yarn in something like this and carry it around with you from chair to chair or wherever you're doing your knitting. I don't know if this is big enough for knitting materials. I don't actually knit. Nice little box with the handle. Those are always functional. I love these vintage inlaid wood art pieces. This looks like it's probably made somewhere in Europe. It's got a cute little village by the sea with a little boat, and each of these little wooden pieces is hand cut and inlaid perfectly. It is $2.99, and it says here on the sticker, made in Italy, Sorrento. Boy, let me tell you, if you've never been to Sorrento, you need to put it on your list of places to go in Europe. After we hosted our very first flea market shopping group trip in Rome and Florence, Italy last year, we went to Sorrento and spent a week there with my husband, his brother, and our sister-in-law. It was absolutely breathtaking. We stayed in an Airbnb that had a view of the island of Capri, and sunsets at night were the most incredible things I have ever witnessed. And if you want a wooden plaque of Sorrento on your wall, which is not quite as colorful as the actual town, but still beautiful in its own way, I've got the perfect little plaque for you. I am so excited about this find right now. I have actually been looking for a 60-minute hourglass, and I love the spindle legs on this. It is $6.99, and this is probably made in the 60s or 70s. I'm so sorry, but this one is a keeper, my friends. Isn't this fabulous? I need to actually test it out and make sure that it's accurate for 60 minutes. So I'm gonna let this drain out, and then we're gonna do a quick timed time lapse and see if it actually is accurate for 60-minute timer. It's a great accessory for decorating on a bookshelf or a vignette because you don't always just want flowers and a vase and a stack of books and a candle. I'm always on the hunt for things that are interesting and different and add another layer of texture and interest to a bookshelf. I love this little striped ceramic vase. It's got green and orange stripes going down the side and beautiful gold painted rim. I'm not sure who the maker is on this, but it definitely looks 1960s or 70s. It's $2.99. I thought this was really pretty. Perfect for a little creamer or a little flower vase in a windowsill. I've walked past this twice now, and I kind of am thinking about getting it. I think somebody hand crocheted this. It's adorable. It's kind of kitsch. It's not really my style, but I think it's kind of adorable and I don't want to leave it here. It's $3.99. I think we're going to go ahead and get it. It's kind of quirky and kind of fun. I feel like this is something I normally would not have picked up. I thought maybe putting it in a different pot would make me like it better, but this is kind of growing on me. Very 1970s. I'm kind of digging it. I think I'm actually going to sell it as it is with this little planter. This is a beautiful glass cream and sugar set with the original plate that goes with it. The gold is a little bit worn off on the handles, but it's such a beautiful set. And the fact that there are all three of the pieces here, I think we're gonna get this. I'm all for good design, even if it's not in perfect condition. I thought these were really beautiful, and nothing in my home is in perfect condition. I'm not even gonna lie. The home itself is not in perfect condition, and that's part of the charm of it to me. I like things to look real and worn and used instead of everything looking brand new, plastic right out of the box. But when you're buying things for resale, there is a fine line between a damaged product and a used, beautiful, aged to perfection product. For all of you resellers out there, I would love to know your opinion on this. I think this is a really good example of something that might be viewed as damaged to a potential buyer. So please comment below and let me know if you think that this crosses that line between aged and damaged. I'm really curious to know other people's opinions on this. This is USA Pottery, and it's one of my favorite soup tureens. This one is $12.99. I don't see any chips or cracks, and it's got the entire set. I love this soup pot so much. You know what else I would use this for? I actually think this would make an awesome gravy dish. I have such a large family. I'm one of 6 kids. If you include all the spouses and the next generation, an immediate family dinner is quite large with our family. So typical gravy boats aren't always enough for our family. I love the classic shape on this. It's such a beautiful piece. And typically what I would do with something that's more traditional like this is I would actually balance it out with more modern items. Holy cow, Corvallis Goodwill, I'm coming back for you. I can't believe how many things I ended up finding at one Goodwill stop. And I wasn't even there right at 10 o'clock. This was at 11 o'clock in the morning. So there was an hour that store was open. The other people were picking it first. This is definitely a Goodwill that I'm going to be adding to my regular stop. Now we are heading to our second and final Goodwill today, the Albany Goodwill. I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. When I started my YouTube channel, there was a question that I kept getting over and over again, and that was, what website do you sell on? And I'm so proud to say that I have been selling on my own independent Squarespace website for over 8 years. Before I launched my Squarespace website, I was selling on other platforms and I was limited to the ever-changing algorithms. Switching to Squarespace completely changed the game for me. I was now able to connect directly with my followers and creatively curate my website to represent the brand that I wanted to build. It has been such a fun creative journey for me using my Squarespace site, which never stays the same. And that's part of why I love Squarespace. They are always changing things and adding in new features, new customizable templates, and adding in more powerful e-commerce capabilities with Squarespace extensions. The powerful insights that the analytics on Squarespace offer you will help you gauge how your followers or your shoppers are interacting with your website. You're going to get to learn about your page views, your traffic sources, where everything is coming from, how much time is spent on each page, what content are they clicking on, and where is your audience coming from. These things are so important if you are wanting to connect with your shoppers or your audience and grow your small business. If you are a vintage seller and you are only selling locally, there is the rest of the world that you can tap into. Head to squarespace.com to start your free trial today. And when you're ready to launch your own website, head to squarespace.com/leftcoast to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Okay, this looks amazing and it looks like it's an incredibly well-made studio pottery pitcher. It is $6.99 and it says it's Grindon, which I know is made out of England. Unfortunately, Grindon pottery doesn't tend to be incredibly valuable, but this is a beautiful piece and I love it. This is about my favorite look with 1970s studio pottery. This very brown and neutral colors, organic texture, a little bit of speckled design. I love this look in pottery, especially when you mix it with more neutral and solid pieces. Grindon pottery is made out of England and it's actually out of Staffordshire. I learned in a recent YouTube video that it is not the way that it is spelled, Staffordshire. It is Staffordshire. I'm working on it. That's still a really hard one for me to say because for a long time I've been saying Staffordshire because that's how it's spelled. I'm probably saying Grindon wrong too. I wouldn't be surprised. So if you are from England and I'm saying that part wrong too, please correct me. I will try to learn how to say all of the true English words. I found some really good things today, but I think this might actually be top of the list for me so far. Let's take a look at this large hammered brass vase. It is $7.99. It was made in India and it was originally sold at Pier 1 for $40 and something cents. A good brass vase is a good brass vase, whether it was sold at Pier 1 and whether it's 20 years old or 40 years old. I love the hammered look, and this doesn't even need to be polished. I actually think it is aged to perfection with this color tone. Brass is classic, timeless, and it sells well, so as a reseller, it's always a good investment. This is a beautiful hand-painted porcelain lidded container. It is $7.99 and it is signed M. Daniel 10962 with an adorable little turtle wearing a top hat. I love that what sold me on this was literally the little tiny turtle signature. I just thought that was so cute. And Daniel 1962, isn't that adorable? It's really pretty. It's all hand painted porcelain. Good job, Daniel. You've got quite the talent. This little round metal display is not vintage, but I was actually looking for something that would hold a card about that size for the Rose City Vintage Market. I'm going to be having some business cards out on the table at that market, and this is going to be perfect to display them. Let's take a look at these carved wooden birds. They look like eagles. They're $3.99, and it looks like there's two of them here. I'm not sure if it was attached to something originally or if the bracket on the back is just to make it into a wall hanging. My only thing is I wish that they were going the opposite direction. Wouldn't that be better? Like if you had them on a gallery wall and you could have one going this way and one going that way. But instead you can have them little side-by-side buddies. I think I'm gonna sell these individually because I think having two of them kind of exactly the same might look a little bit funny in a gallery wall, but I think popping one of these in amongst art and baskets and other items would look really cool. Oh, this is fun. I've seen these before. These are laminated wood, and this is a little salt cellar. It's $4.99. I know that these aren't incredibly valuable. I think they probably retail online for $20 to $25, but how fun is this design? This isn't vintage, but it sure has a retro look to it. And so how these work is they have a little hinge here on the side, and you just kind of twist it up and keep your salt in there. There's even some leftover salt from the person that donated it, and they're just a good way to keep your salt handy, and you can move it around easily while still having a cover for it to keep it clean, because you don't want dust and cat hair getting in your salt. You know what else you could use this for? This would be great for keeping dice in. If you're a gamer, you could keep it on your coffee table on a stack of books and then just open it up and you've got some dice right there ready to go. Well, that is a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and going thrifting and letting me share all of my finds and how I decorate with them with you. I am so grateful for each and every one of you watching these videos and for your encouragement and support. This series is so much fun to film. Jesse and I are actually headed out this weekend to film the next episode. And if you are interested in purchasing any of today's finds, I list all of my vintage items the first Friday of every single month on my website, leftcoastrevivals.com. My husband and I also host international group travel trips where we take you to flea markets all around the world. So if you are ever interested in joining us for one of our group trips, I might have a couple new exciting trips coming up very soon. I've got some exciting things in the works for 2025. I hope you are having a wonderful day and happy thrifting wherever you are located around the world, and I will see you in the next episode very soon.